What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about SoundHound, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and where I see things going. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off this upcoming week, it's going to be very volatile. Monday, it's going to be more of a technical driven day, so we don't really have that much in data points. And in SoundHound's case, with it closing at 14.12 on Friday, it is smack dab in the middle between this R1 and the pivot. So 13.27 is going to be that next strong support, and then 16.09 is going to be that next strong target slash resistance. I'm looking at the one-day chart on a side note, so very strong support and resistance points. Lately, it's been lagging. So over the last 5 days, it is down 0.32% when the broader market's been really moving higher for various reasons, a lot of which is linked to rate cuts. So at the end of the day, though, I think SoundHound's just been lagging, and there has to be some level of hesitation coming from institutions, because even popping over here, we did have a new rating on the 11th. No price target was given. Oppenheimer, so a brand new rating, did give a hold, but still, nonetheless, like, you have analysts becoming more and more bullish on SoundHound, but you're not really seeing that level of buying. So in comparison, when it did really break out from that $12 range on September the 4th, you saw mass amounts of buying, and you can just see that from the market position. As of Friday, you see a very strong amount of willing sellers, but yet you don't really see that much buyers. Luckily enough, on Friday though, it did still close above that 10-day moving average, so it shows that the momentum is still kind of there, but based on this, it does show that it wants to consolidate to at least that 1350. So based on what I just mentioned, the next strong support. So SoundHound's just been one of those very frustrating stocks, and I cover a couple other stocks, one a kind of competitor of SoundHound, and that is Resolve AI. And I think in general, comparing SoundHound to Resolve, it's just management, and that is it. Even though SoundHound did participate in some recent conferences, as what they kind of posted on social media about, it's still, the market didn't really like it all that much. And even in the most recent Piper Sandler conference, they were asked about this, so the most recent acquisition, and in general, I absolutely didn't like their answer. Like, even the interviewer was like, hey, so can you explain how this kind of works with Amelia, how everything? And it just, the answer was very poor. So I think in general, management really needs to shape up. And I've covered a couple of different stocks similar to SoundHound where management is very smart, very, very smart, but they are not business savvy. Whereas one actual comparison is Lucid and Rivian. So Rivian, business, very business oriented, so they can be seen as Resolve, whereas SoundHound can be seen as Lucid, and conveniently, those two did partner. So their management is very smart, but not business savvy. So at the end of the day, I feel like that is why SoundHound has been lagging. But with this potential week coming up, being a big week for the market, so on Tuesday we have retail sales, Wednesday, building permits and starts, and then the interest rate decision. So once we do get the 25 basis point cut that is estimated, which right now there is a 93.4% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, of course, that is where the market and big money is going to be scouring for value plays. So potentially this upcoming week might be pretty good for SoundHound. Of course, from now, or I guess Monday up until Wednesday, you might see that little bit of a pullback as what I kind of showed you. But once we do get this, then maybe that might prompt a certain level of buying. Aside from that, though, what is stated afterwards by Powell, that is what is really going to move the broader market, because currently there is a 79% likelihood of a following 25 basis point cut for the October 29th meeting, 5.5% likelihood of a 50. None of that's priced in. But if Powell does allude to a potential second cut for October, then you're going to see the market just run up like crazy. So again, that's what potentially is something to expect. And then the rest of the week, we don't really have too much. So on Thursday, initial jobless claims, and then Friday, not all that much. Nothing really planned for SoundHound, so no news, no fireside chats. So that's pretty much it. So it is going to be at the mercy of the broader market. As far as shorts goes, so 33.07% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 120.66 million shares overall are being shorted. So still very close to the all-time high short interest. And again, I think this is one of the main reasons why SoundHound has really been lagging, and most likely will continue to lag up until they do hit profitability, which will be a natural deterrent for shorts. But if you want a good discount on a stock, I think SoundHound being suppressed is pretty good in my opinion. All depends on your time horizon and your risk tolerance and so forth. But I do believe SoundHound's just business model and the sector in among itself is going to continue to move higher. Looking at options from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 15 to 15.50. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of $13.50 to $14. So given the fact that it closed at $14.19, then a little bit more upside clearly is anticipated based on the open interest and it closing at that 14 plus. You're not really going to see any gamma squeeze. Looking forward into this upcoming week, it is a monthly chain, and in fact it is quad witching, so that's going to be a lot of volatility. Best case scenario, if SoundHound's able to close above 15, then you have 22,000 in open interest at that $15 strike price. So again, something to keep in mind. But nonetheless, if you're wanting to kind of day trade, swing trade, or whatever else, just take note of a lot of these. So 1327 and then 1609. Just to give you a quick, closer view, this is the 1 minute chart. So again, if you're wanting to swing trade, day trade, kind of just take note of this. So with it at 1412, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 1410, 1387 is going to be kind of light support. And then 1447, 1484, and then 1507 is going to be light resistance points. So again, I feel like there is a lot of upside with SoundHound. I will still continue to sell a lot of puts. So take the time to research options if you haven't already. So I think that's kind of the best way to do it with SoundHound, is just that option wheel, because you keep selling puts up until they are exercised, then you can just sell covered calls on those actual shares that you do get. So I've been selling a lot, had a lot of, I think 15 options that was expiring last Friday, because I sold, I think it was 1150 puts, and I do currently have, I think it is for October, $12 puts. If you want to see all my trades live, pop over to my Patreon. I post them as I do them. So again, if you're kind of curious or want to just look at some of my trades, definitely do that. Or generally speaking, if you just want some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, just pop over to the Patreon. I do put out daily day trades as well as numerous swing trades, so worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. But at the end of the day, I do feel with SoundHound it might be suppressed, but given the market momentum that might come this week, potentially with Powell as well alluding to a October cut, you will be seeing a nice push higher. Long past overdue in my opinion, but it is what it is. SoundHound's just suppressed, and I think just a lot of investors that have been in it for a while are just used to it by now. So it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Hopefully everyone's having a amazing weekend. One final thing though, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto. So pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.